Hello, welcome to Warrior Commission Now, where we talk about practical ways to live out our commission with God. And today I have Ted Mather, who is joining me. I'm Christine Casten, and we are talking about Ted's excellent adventure. And it's just such an amazing story. Ted, you have you're always sharing from your heart. You're always sharing about the God stories that you have in your life. And they're not God stories that happened 20 years ago. Often they're a lot of times God stories that are for today. But I like the one that you just shared as we were kind of preparing for fishing record and inviting everyone on into our table. So start with that story and what it kind of taught you with your jogging story, and kind of where God has continued to take you in the process of the adventure with Him.
Okay. When I was teaching high school, and during that time I had a jogging club, and the kids and I kept track of how many miles we put in, and we had a 200-mile club that we went for. So I would come home from school, and then I lived about 2 miles outside the city limits, but I like to jog into the city, and of course I like to pray when I'm jogging. I always have. When I pray, I like to be moving. Mm-hmm. And so I would jog across the bridge, and at the next street, I would always turn right. And as I turned right, there on that street was this old building that was built in the 1800s, and it was a hotel, and it had 88 rooms in it. And I would go by this hotel, and I would say, Lord, there's 88 rooms sitting there with nobody in them, nobody doing anything. And we've got people out on the street with no roof over their heads. Why can't this building be put to good use? And that was the basis of my prayer. And I did this for, I don't know, 2-3 months. And then one day I'm doing my jogging, and I come across the bridge, and I turn right, and I go, and I look, and the door is open to this place. And so I stopped, and I went inside, and as I stepped inside, somebody handed me a paintbrush. And I looked at him with this paintbrush in my hand. I said, what is this for? And he said, we're cleaning this place up. We're going to make a homeless shelter. And I went, oh, gosh. God, you are so good. Mm-hmm. And then I became a part of that effort, and that homeless shelter, while it's not operating in the same building, it is still operating today. And so, God is so faithful. He's so good to show up when I had no expectations. I had no idea how to open a building, but He did.
Right.
In His plan. He did, and it was in His plan.
And He's just saturated the whole thing with prayer in the process.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's, that I kind of have this routine that has been with me all my life. And now I don't jog like I used to. In fact, I don't jog anymore. But I do take this hike up a hill that it takes me about an hour to do the up and down. Mm-hmm. And one of my routines in this hike is that I look to see if there's an episode of Warrior Now.
Warrior Commission Now, here it is. And we have a few that post every week, so
yeah,
get a chance.
And there's not always one, but there's usually some, and sometimes I'll listen to one that I've already heard before. Mm-hmm. And because the Lord just directs me there, and I just go, and I'll always find something in it. They're rich, and you always will find something there. But I'll listen to that, and then afterwards I'll ask, do you have anything you want to talk about this? Or Lord, is there anything on your mind? Or if I have something on my mind, we'll talk about it, and then I'll take some time and pray into it. But sometimes it's just put on the worship music and just walk. Mm-hmm. And just be quiet and just listen and just enjoy the presence, just enjoy him being there with me. Sometimes I even feel like he's walking with me up that hill. And it's just knowing that he's going to be in that, just enough of a impetus to make me go.
On those days you're like, I don't know about today.
Yeah, it's kind of looked like it might rain. So, but no, it's good. It is just the way he works with me and the way that I connect with him. And I love that.
How do you feel like that impacts you with, just with I mean, obviously it impacts you to encourage you to exercise, right? Because you're
Right.
wanting to be in that place. So that's nice. That's a healthy thing. But how do you feel like it, just that connection with God and that time with him?
Well, I'll give you a real life example of what happens on that hill, because you never know who you're going to run into. You don't know who you're going to meet. And so there was this fellow that lives diagonally across the street from me, and he had this dog that just barked at everything that moved. And he was a big guy. I mean, a huge guy. He could have been playing football for a professional team. And he had this goatee and he had a sour look on his face. I mean, nobody wanted to talk to him. I never saw anybody talk to him. I didn't talk to him because he wasn't approachable.
Right. Yeah.
Just the dog alone was menacing enough. Well, one morning I'm going up the hill. He's coming down. Now the path is narrow. Somebody has to give. And so I just reached down to the dog and let the dog smell my hand. And I said, hey, I'm talking to the dog. I'm not talking to him. I'm looking at the dog. I'm talking because I want to make sure the dog was going to be nice back to me.
Right, exactly.
But I started petting the dog and saying, boy, this is a beautiful animal. And then I look up at him and I say, my name's Ted. I live across the street from you. And of course, that's an invitation for him to say who he was, right?
Right.
No, he didn't. He just grunted. That's all he did was grunt. And so I started asking questions about the dog. Well, that got answers.
Right.
And it went on. I actually was able to drag it out for about 5 minutes. And you know what? The next time I saw him on the hill, I got his name and we got more talk. And now we wave at each other when we walk down the sidewalk. And it just, that's what happens when you get out amongst it and you just go love on people. That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
Just loving on him. Seeing if I could get that sour look off his face. And I did.
That's
God did. Whatever makes you more comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that what we're doing in life? Is we're expressing the love of God through our lives into the lives of others. I mean, that's what it's about. And the more we know that love, the easier it is to express it, even if they're prickly. Or they have dogs that might take your leg and run off with it. You still are in that place of just of sharing the heart of Jesus. I think that's the one thing that I'm kind of an eye person. So I look at people's eyes, and when some of the most impactful moments haven't been what people have said, it's been the love that I see in their eyes as they're, connecting with me in whatever way, that expression of really caring, really, really being present in the moment with me in those times.
I know what you're talking about that expression. And it can come also when they go, you're talking to me? They don't say that, but that's what their eyes say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's almost as good to make a positive impression on people like that.
Yeah. I love just the idea of, I see you, it's the idea that as we go about our day, we're aware enough of the people around us that we see them. and we recognize that they're there and that they're a person, in our midst. So they're not just kind of like, oh, whatever, do whatever you need to do for me and I'm moving on, but you really see them and connect with them. And Ted, you do that really well. You see people.
That word awareness that you use, that's a key word, because I don't go to intentionally push myself onto people or to interact with people, because I'm a natural born introvert. I'm just as happy to walk on by and then just be within my little cocoon. But just to be aware, just to carry that awareness that, you know what, there's something here. There's something going to happen here. You're going to have some good stuff happen with God if you just stop and be present. And that's what I try to do.
So that really becomes your excellent adventure, doesn't it?
It does. It does. That is true. I never thought about it that way, but you're right.
Because you never know. I mean, from day to day, you never know what, if you're just walking with openness with the Lord and awareness of others. A lot of times those adventures happen, and they're unexpected. They're not planned. Like you said, you're not going out there trying to force yourself or make something happen, but just in that place with God, you're in that openness to be able to touch a life and to be aware that they're there. Even just sometimes for some people, just even saying hi and making eye contact with them is a huge thing in that moment, and that can be very powerful for them. So yeah, that's really good. Thank you, Ted, for sharing your excellent adventure with us. I know you have many more aspects to your excellent adventure. There's a lot more stories that you could share, but I appreciate you being here today and sharing this part of your excellent adventure with us and those of us at the table. And if you guys are interested in getting to know a little bit more about the Warrior Commission, just go to thewarriorcommission.com. We'd love to hear from you, and would appreciate you guys being a part of our community. So we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.